IoT Unplugged, where we talk to industry leaders, innovators, and major players in the Internet of Things, bringing you the best and latest insights. Tune in to learn more. In this episode, I speak to Aliaksandr Kuushynau, head of Wialon at Gurtam, as he shares with me the fleet management landscape, exploring how it has evolved, the key technologies that underpin it, and the industries that have embraced fleet management. Hi, Aliaksandr. Thank you so much for joining me on the IoT Unplugged podcast today. Could you start by introducing who you are and what you do?
Hi, Kathleen. It's great to be here on IoT Unplugged. I'm Aliaksandr Kuushynau, and I'm head of Wialon at Gurtam. Actually, my journey started in the automotive industry, where I spent 6 years working for Volkswagen. And that experience gave me some deeper understanding of automotive vehicle technology and all the landscape of fleet owning and fleet management. And then around 15 or maybe even 16 years ago, I made a jump to Gurtam. At that time, it was just a really small startup with about less than a dozen of people. And our international presence was pretty minimal. And since then, it's been a part of story of my growth and company growth with Wialon, which became kind of a global leader in our industry right now.
We will, of course, be talking a little bit more about fleet management, the industry, but before we get onto that, could you also introduce the company Wialon as well?
Okay, speaking about the company, so Gurtam is the name of the company. Its core business is development of software for fleet management by GPS, telematics, and similar technologies. We've been around for over 20 years already, and from the very beginning, we've been focusing on building robust, scalable, high-efficient solutions for the fleet management industry. Right now, we are a global company with partners in 160 countries, and totally we manage more than 5 million vehicles all over the world. And that helps those businesses to run their fleets more efficiently, more secure, more safer. And our flagship product is the one we are talking today about is Wialon, the part of the company that I manage. And if speaking about Wialon, you can imagine like a large-scale comprehensive platform that empowers businesses to track vehicles, to manage everything about them, and not just smaller vehicles. It can be heavy machinery, it can even be some stationary assets or even personal. And it's much wider than just seeing a dot on a map. Wialon allows fleets to build powerful solutions for optimization for different industries, and to get as much as possible from the fleet they are owning.
Great. Well, thank you for that introduction. Why don't we then zero in a little bit on the fleet management industry? So since the company was established, what has the evolution been like as technologies have developed?
Yeah, that's a really good question. As fleet management technologies, the one we are serving, they are actually also evolving and developing together with all the rest of technologies. We've been in this sphere and for more than 20 years already, and for sure in the mid 2000s it started a bit differently. It was a huge breakthrough when companies got that possibility to have just basic GPS tracking. It was really revolutionary just to see your vehicles on the virtual map and not having to call, a driver to know where they are. And huge, and the first step, that happened more than 20 years ago. Having mileage and some basic information was just this: location, location, location. And if we forward to today, there's been a lot of steps that technology has made to make this information more accessible, more robust, more comprehensive. Like there were times when companies to get information from a vehicle realized that it can go much further than just location. So we introduced the possibility to get much more additional data from the vehicle itself. It can be data on engine, it can be data on fuel level, it can be data on passenger presence, and any other information that the fleet of different kind might want to have to understand how effective eventually the fleet is. So by adding all those extra layers of data, fleet management technology evolved and they came to the phase pretty where it is today. Another serious milestone was switching to mobile use. As you know, 20 years ago, we all of us were using just those who were using those cellular phones. Nowadays, everyone is having smartphones, and for sure, we also made the technology accessible through mobile apps, and it was another step forward to visibility and to way how to make fleet management more effective. As in early days, it was a breakthrough just to open your computer, Windows 98 or something, and see the location of vehicles. Then, with the smartphone era, you're able to be anywhere, not only in your office, but again, open your app and see where the vehicles are, what's happening with them, what's the fuel level, what the speed, what is driver behavior, and many more data that can lead to uh, eventually better results in terms of fleet management. So that are the steps that are happening. And just recently, also together with the development of connectivity like 4G and now 5G, we saw more add-on layers in terms of fleet management. As early networks, they simply were not able to handle large volumes of data. And nowadays, with 4G and 5G working in many countries, uh, fleets are also interested in not just getting, you know, digitized data on fleets, vehicles, location, and speed and something, but also to see all that with their own eyes. So that's a time when video telematic technology comes into business, and fleets and vehicle owners are now able to install devices, both driver facing and road facing, to get same again in the office or on a mobile phone of a fleet manager, actual data or actual visibility on what is happening with the vehicle, what is happening inside the cabin, and what's happening on the road. So all those steps show that technology is really evolving, and it's really game changing things that were happening recently. Next step for sure would be a wider AI implementation in fleet management, where all those huge amounts of data will be not only processed by some algorithms and by personnel who is analyzing driver behavior or any other report, but it will also include AI technologies so that it would be much easier for any fleet manager to uh, get all those insights on the fleet, even without drilling deep into precise data or reports, but just asking human type questions of like how my fleet is doing, and who is driving how today, or any other like regular language questions can be answered by softwares in fleet management by providing exact data but processed through AI.
It's really interesting to hear you track that evolution from just being able to gather data about the location to now where you're looking at potential AI implementation. So thank you for that overview. Why don't we talk a little bit about your platform? What is maybe it would just be good to have an overview of how it works. What are the kinds of insights that your customers who use it get?
Okay, if speaking about Wialon, the platform we've been developing for over 20 years already, I would say that it's. I mean, if you can imagine, always we say we compare our platform with a Swiss Army knife, something that has a lot of tools and can help a fleet in any situation cover their needs to a certain extent. As I have already mentioned, we have about 5 million vehicles connected to all Gurtam platform products. Out of those, 4 million plus would be connected to Wialon. And saying that, I should say that those 4 million vehicles really come from 150 plus countries, and they come from, I don't know, 50 plus industries. That means that both passenger transportation, logistics, waste management, and other industries are benefiting from the technology that we have in our platform. So no matter how business processes are working in a certain company with a certain fleet, by introduction of our platform, companies of totally every business sphere can get some insights on how fleet is working and can get an opportunity to optimize their business processes based on that data. So there in platform for sure we have layers, like you can see again, like mapping interface with areas and the geofences that can control the location and control entries and exits of certain virtual boundaries. We can control speed, we can control fuel, and that leads us to a possibility to understand that and companies can help. We can help companies to reach their sustainability goals. As together with fuel, we control the carbon emission, and the companies are getting their carbon footprints reports through our platforms. At the same time, in the same platform, they can check driver behavior, and they can also, you know, improve the style of driving in the company, and that gives them a possibility to pick or to see the drivers who are less efficient or less safe in the approach to driving, and look for some options how to make certain incentives for them to improve their style, how they work with the vehicles. But that's the part that serve any fleets, though we can also speak of specific industries. If we say logistics, then I should say that okay, we have the possibility to create a perfect route for each delivery van or vehicle based on the number of orders the company is getting. So it's all automated. If we speak about public transportation, in the same platform, we have a possibility to create a route for public transportation with all the bus stops, or with all the stops, with all the schedules, to see all the deviations if they are happening there. And same applies to any industry. So with all that set of tools that exist in our platform, which again been developing for many years, any fleet manager can improve the performance of the fleet. And another thing I should mention here, that all that versatility of the platform we provide through a network of local service providers, companies that are taking our platforms and introducing that technology to fleets. And it's a separate business layer which exists in every country, that because implementation of such advanced technologies is a quite a sophisticated process, and not every fleet is able to just download certain app and start managing that fleet effectively. It's not working like this. It's a certain process of transformation, implementation of technologies, and that project looks like a work of technology plus consultant, and they're together installing devices, getting some KPIs, setting some goals, and working in order to achieve those improvement goals or metrics that they have per fleet.
So it sounds like you're allowing your users to maybe navigate some difficulties that come with the different infrastructure across different regions.
Yes. You're right, Katlin. That's another possibility, that every region, as I said, we are not in that sense industry specific, and we are not region specific as well. In different regions of the world, there are different issues or challenges that fleets are facing, and again, we are able to we have the technology, say so, we have the technology to tackle those issues, challenges, difficulties. But then it's again to the fleet manager, fleet owner, and a certain consultant to bundle it up to the solution that would help that fleet work eventually more effectively.
One interesting feature I think of the platform is the ability to integrate with the some of the GPS devices which are out there. So it would be interesting to hear from you why you decided to do this, and kind of how it works to for the platform to be interoperable with GPS devices.
Oh, yeah, Ketil. You're certainly right by highlighting that specific thing about our platform. Yeah, and it's really one of the areas where Wialon stands out, and why actually we are eventually so successful in this market. Right now, we have integration of over 3,000 different GPS devices, and that means that we are given an opportunity to the fleet owners and to those consultants and service providers to find a perfect device out of hundreds of vendors that would be able to provide fleets with precise data that fleet would need to make certain improvements. And actually, from day one, our philosophy was never to lock ourselves or lock users into a specific hardware vendor. And I would say that 15-20 years back, it was we were probably the one and only very unique company on the market offering software only for that purpose. As initially it was like offering by our competitors at that time as a like all-in-one solution that you have device and software and connectivity all together, and you're kind of locked up in that cage where wherever you need extra data, be it like fuel, temperature, humidity in a truck, you're not able to get extra. We've started to be device agnostic from the very beginning, and every day we have a separate team who works on integration of new devices into a platform. And we need to realize that globally there are hundreds of manufacturers of GPS tracking devices, units, those black boxes, GPS gauges, or some OBD devices that you can install in a vehicle to get eventually your position. But the problem is that each of those devices, they're talking their specific language. And usually those devices can come up with their own kind of a smaller platform, smaller version of what we are having. The opportunity that we are providing is we learned all the languages of like vast majority of the devices that are present on the market, and we are providing that possibility to combine different projects in one platform, which is again very useful, not only to a fleet manager who who's also quite often having a very mixed fleet of vehicles of different type that would require different devices and different layers of data. But also it is very important for those consultants, telematic service providers, integrators who want to serve different customers in the country. And if you're serving pizza delivery and together with the taxis, together with the cold chain monitoring, then obviously you need different data, different devices. And actually that's one of the core things that led us to the success on the market, as different devices can be combined in one platform, and one service provider can add on more customers into a complete ecosystem that he already has and he knows how to use, and his eventually sales channels are ready to sell the platform that they are aware of. And that explains why we have like a lot of a lot of service providers who are with us for 10 plus years and who are constantly adding more and more fleets in certain country or region where they are working. So yeah, that's something we should highlight. Additionally, if we are speaking here, I would also mention that all the data that comes into the platform, we are not limiting users into using our interface, be it mobile or web interface only. Beyond receiving data, we have robust APIs, and it's absolutely critical. It's also adds another step in the process of fleet digitalization, as our users are able not only to log in to a platform to see the critical data, KPIs, insights that they need, but it is also possible to integrate that data from our platform to any third-party system, be it accounting, be it ERP, be it Oracle, SAP, or something like this. You are able to get processed or raw data from Wialon, so that we have a vehicle, we read data from any device, we do our part of analytics, like we do driver scores, and then driver scoring data would be available not only in reports in our platform, but also driver scoring data would travel directly to any HR softwares that a fleet or company or corporation might have. And then anyone who's managing human resources can open his software where he manages his personnel and see the scores there without even need to log in to Wialon itself. That's another big thing that helps companies, to seamlessly integrate all different pieces of data and make that digital transformation smoother in a way.
Sure, and you can't overstate the importance of digital transformation and where fleet management fits in with that. So, Alexander, at the start of our conversation, we spoke a little bit about the company, its history, the evolution of the fleet management industry. Looking at today, what have you observed across industries, across regions in terms of fleet management adoption? What are some of the industries you've seen that have embraced it, and are there any industries that are maybe lagging a little bit behind?
That's very good questions, as it's true that not all industries are evolving uh, on the same pace if we speak about digital transformation. And easiest example here would be like if we look again to the early days of when GPS signal got available to regular public, and first possibility to get the position of a vehicle appeared. It was the time also when we started providing our software as GPS tracking layer only. Let's look at the industry that evolved most. It would be, I don't know, I would say taxis. I mean, there were times before that you had to call taxi, and then would be that dispatcher who would connect through radio and would ask about the nearest taxi to a certain location. Then, when GPS tracking was available, that dispatcher, after receiving the phone call, would just open the map, be it Wialon or any other platform, and see the location of vehicles that has that available sign, green or red, whatever, and then dispatcher would pick the vehicle and assign it to a specific order. And you can call it, that is the level of automation you have in ambulances, in most of the ambulances or that type of fleets right now. But taxi industry, it evolved further. Yeah, right now we have apps that make that function of dispatcher not needed at all. It is a complete ecosystem where you have all the cars, all the drivers, all the users. It includes the payment, the history, the ratings, and it's a complete ecosystem that has been totally digitalized, and it made even many more steps further comparing to the level that some other free fleet related industries are. And from that perspective, we can also see the how again example on local deliveries. When we speak about food delivery, it also in some cases it still works that you have to call your favorite restaurant, yeah, to order something to be delivered to you, and it involves certain human interaction. But we all are aware of platforms that provide us a possibility to order food without any personal communication with someone taking our order. And such scenarios, I believe, would also work with many more industries, even on like here I mentioned a couple of like consumer oriented businesses, but same transformation works with the help of Wialon when we speak about logistics, when we speak about transportation that are constantly evolving, that are being much more effective these days comparing to the previous times, as there are more layers and more opportunities are added there to be more cost effective, to provide more efficiency, from route optimizing to minimizing idle times, and meeting like delivery schedules and meeting safety and compliance regulations and driver safety as well. So all those aspects are really important. And when you are managing a transportation or logistics company, previously also it required a lot of resources to do all the routes, to include all the, to think about all the stops, sleeping areas, fueling stations, everything that should be taken into consideration when you're planning a route from one city to another city, if it's a route for like 2 or 3 days. Nowadays, it's all covered by platforms like Wialon, where we can create that perfect route, take into account all considerations, all possibilities that needs to be taken into account, and eventually, that's how industries are, changing. It's, I mean, from a consumer point of view, it's not that easy, to realize, yeah, how the industry evolves. But those companies that are involved in that process are for sure seeing those changes, and it's really has a, I mean, very serious impact on the businesses themselves, and even the, ecosystem, and sustainability all over the globe.
So you mentioned taxis, you mentioned food deliveries, all as areas that have really embraced it, and certainly seen fleet management as a way of bringing value, I suppose, to the end customer. What are some of the industries or use cases maybe that haven't been as quick with their adoption of fleet management?
Less adopting, I would say, it takes more time to adopt new technologies in some of the industries with higher regulation requirements, and or the industries where those technologies were introduced on an earlier stage, and who still stay with what we can call today in 2025 a bit of outdated technologies, even if they were digitalized in due to till certain extent. And in that sense, I would, call oil and gas industry as one of the samples, as for sure in certain regions where like it's a big corporations that run those fleets, run those industries, or involved in those industries, and decision making in such companies, in such industries, is a very hard process. And also, risks that are related with those fleets are much higher than comparing to other fleets, and it takes them just, a bit longer in terms of accepting that technologies that are available, because they need to do, much more much longer pilot projects, longer tests in order to adapt certain things. Also, pretty same example can go to, public transportation, in a way that in many cities we already have that electronic schedules, where you as a passenger can open any app and see when the next bus is arriving, or you can even see that digital bus stop with all the data. But in some regions or in some countries, that is still unavailable, and people are not having that opportunity at all. Yeah, and they just have to check the, printed schedules, or just wait and hope for the next bus to arrive. And that leads us actually to the more to different angle of the digitalization. It's not only about the industry difference, but it's about the regional difference. As I mean, it's kind of obvious that technologies are not equally available in every country, and since early adopters or like early projects that are starting in certain regions, then it might be even 10 plus years difference between countries in the way of digital transformation. If we're speaking about public transportation, I would say here that there is a long there is that discussed projects and the very certain need for passenger counting, for automated passenger counting. It's a and the technology that works in like in every subway where you have that locker doors, whatever automatic doors. You can count every passenger, and that's why cities, municipalities, and the for sure transportation companies, they are aware of exact number of passengers in the subways of trains or trains. But when we speak about regular buses and it's almost nowhere in the world you can see the situation with precise counting if we speak about regular city public transportation. It's very rare cases that and there are different types of technologies that you can install on a bus to reach that preciseness of data on the amount of passengers, but still it's something that we are lacking. Both we are as technology providers and the fleets are not able to get that as well. So for sure there is a room for improvement, and there are many more technologies that can make fleets life even more effective and efficient.
I think room for improvement is probably a good way to term it, and to hopefully see in the future that some of the things you've spoken about will that adoption of fleet management will continue to grow. So before we wrap up, Alexander, is there anything that you want to mention to our listeners?
I would challenge everyone to think of the technologies which are already available, even if we are speaking fleets or if we are speaking some other technologies. I would like everyone, to challenge the current approaches that you're taking with your current tools, and get subscribed to some channels where you can get updates on new technologies, and try always search for improvements and search for additional ways of tools how to make your life easier, more effective, and how to do manually something that needs to be done manually, and how to automate the things that can be automated through different tools and services that are appearing today. As being a technology provider, we have that feeling that we develop a lot of tools, a lot of technologies, a lot of everything. But still, on the other side, when we speak about fleet owners, there can be kind of reluctance to those opportunities, as it really takes a lot of decision power to start implementing new technologies, to start that shift in a company. And sometimes peoples and businesses, they prefer to stay where you are. So my call here would be just don't stay where you are and move forward in all aspects possible.
Great. Well, thank you so much for joining me and for talking to me about fleet management. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Same me here. I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Caitlin, for having me here.
IoT Unplugged.